This is T.
And this is MZ.
Well, today we have Joe joining us. And welcome, Joe.
Hey, hello. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
I guess it's going all right.
Good.
We had some things to celebrate.
Do we?
Yeah.
But first we wanted to talk about whether or not should a man move forward and plan a whole wedding for his fiance and not tell her what he's doing and surprise her at the date of the wedding, and she just shows up and all of a sudden she's got to be in a gown and the whole ceremony without her having a part in it. Is that a good thing to do?
That was very descriptive. Very, very much so. Sure, why not?
Because don't you think she needs to play a part?
So now we find out you don't think that's a good idea.
No, I don't.
It can actually be very romantic, but then when you think about it, the woman, she may not have all of her proper undergarments. She may want a certain person to do her makeup, photography, and all of that. But the idea, I absolutely love the idea.
I love the idea too. I think it's great, but it has to be the right person that accepts, and she has to be in tune with whatever you plan. She's got to love it, because that's what she's stuck with for the rest of her life.
So what I'm thinking is basically what I wanted to do was take all her ideas and manifest them.
That's a good thing.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's the weird thing with women though. Even y'all are sidekicks. Y'all the sidekicks with her right now. It's like, oh well, don't do that because she's gonna want to do all this stuff.
No,
and I'm like, wait, but don't you just want to get married? Like, even if I made it nice, it's like, but she wants this and she wants that, and 100%, she's getting so much and pretty much everything that she wants. It's just going to be a surprise.
Yeah, and I support it because my friend or my guy is going to plan our wedding too, as far as like the date and the location. But but I'll know about it. So it's not a full surprise. He's just planning it. So, I think I like the full surprise idea.
Yeah, the full surprise is good. And it's even a good idea if it's not the first wedding. Because if you've already been married once, the second wedding is not as important to you.
No, why?
I mean, you don't have to have all the hoopla that you had on the first one.
Well, some people still want all of that. It just depends on the people.
See, now y'all talking a great topic.
Yeah, because it depends on the people.
I used to want the hoopla because I'm a hoopla kind of person.
Yes, you are a hoopla person.
I like to look at myself. I never seen a mirror that I didn't agree with. But the thing is, after you get a certain age, once you start realizing what them bills are and how they hit, and I ain't even gonna talk to you about child support. Me breaking off and spending $20,000-$30,000 is ridiculous.
Right, for one day.
Can I make it happen?
Absolutely.
Anything she wanted, I can make happen, and I do.
Right,
but I ain't doing that.
Right.
I ain't doing that. I know people paying for years spending money on their wedding.
Yeah, for one day.
Still for a day.
For one day for other people, not for them.
I don't want this. I don't want that. And we already talked earlier about how ain't nobody even raised to be a wife. Matter of fact, ain't nobody even being raised to be married. They just being being raised to have a marriage.
The subject just turned.
Have a wedding. So if you all excited about a wedding and not the marriage, about the sacrifices and the growth, you just want to you want to wear a pretty dress. I've heard that so many times. That's a real thing.
That women just want to wear a pretty dress.
I just want to wear a pretty dress, and
I agree with that because I didn't have my first wedding. I didn't have anything. So the second wedding, I was like, okay, you had a choice to go to the JP court, or you have the choice to maybe have like a Vegas wedding with just a little bit of walking down the aisle with a pretty dress or that. I said, well, since I didn't have it in my first wedding, I would like to get a pretty dress and walk down the aisle. I would like to feel like a real bride. I didn't get that chance the first time.
And see, I'm okay either way, because I did the JP the first time. I'm willing to do the JP the second time because that's not the marriage. The marriage is the two people and what we're going to have to do going forward. So the marriage is...
Are y'all having a wedding?
Well, if he want one, I'm okay with it. If I don't have one, I'm okay with it.
So what do you want?
I'm going to be married, to move forward together, building and doing that. So my marriage is more or less me and him, as opposed to the ceremony for everybody else. Because when you do the ceremony,
that's what I was saying,
you're paying for everybody else
Yep.
else to eat.
Yep.
Everybody else. It's just a whole lot.
So we were having this conversation
talked
when we were
about that
walking on the
today.
trail.
Okay.
Okay, and you were on the phone, so you didn't hear us. So I was telling him that when you invite people to your wedding and they come from out of town, you have to have food for them to eat.
You do. I can't give you a bologna sandwich.
Man.
So-
He didn't agree. He's like, we can
I
just
ain't
take
gotta
them all
feed
into dinner.
nobody.
But if you're taking them out to dinner, you're still feeding them.
So I evolved in my understanding at the moment, and I in turn agreed with her. All right, let's give them some food. My thing is, I'm like kind of how you are. I just want a couple very close people.
Yes.
And I want to make it important that she have a couple people there that she really
Right.
care about. Now, if I wanted to blow this thing up and invite all the homies, I could fill it up. I could
Right.
do 100, 200 people on my side.
But
I
we
ain't
don't have
paying
time.
for none of that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll buy us a house. I'll lace her with bags and stuff for her, but I'm not about to do this big giant celebration and put us in debt. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because the honeymoon is more important.
Yeah, let's go make a baby.
Or practice making one.
Or let's just go.
You're practicing.
Exactly.
For those of us that can't make babies,
I'm a
we're just
professional
practicing.
practicer.
Okay, we gonna practice, but yeah. So I guess it all depends on what each person want as far as marriage and how people view it.
It must be in the air.
It must be, but I mean, my
Because
daughter's
there's so
gonna
many
have
people.
an expensive wedding.
Yeah, there's so many people getting married and hooking up and really. That's all you're hearing now.
No.
You know
On
what's you know
Facebook?
what's happening?
What?
People are tired of paying bills by themselves.
Hey.
So we figure
Hey.
2 incomes is better than one. We're making business decisions here.
Man, but you know the whole thing about a marriage is it really is. It's a business decision.
I agree with you 100%.
Because there's been people that I
But
love
a lot
with all
of
my heart
women-
I ain't want to marry.
A lot of
Right.
women don't agree with me when I say that, but I think marriage is a business.
They don't want to agree with it because they don't want their fantasy toyed with.
Well, they can still have their fantasy, but let's face reality. It is business. That's why we sign a contract.
Yeah, you signed a contract with the government.
Yes, it's business. They even view it as business. They put us together, and guess what? If something happened, his debt is yours, your debt is it's business.
Absolutely. It all becomes a joint, especially if it's a community property estate.
Exactly. So I've always viewed it that way. I don't think I'm gonna ever stop viewing it that way because, I mean, it works for me.
So
So
the
do you
business
believe-
got to be good.
So do you believe you should
Business.
marry for love or you should marry for money? That's a good one.
Okay.
That was a great question. I have an answer.
You
Do you
don't
have an answer?
I haven't married nobody for one reason or the other.
What was that?
I haven't married anybody for one reason or the other. Now I can speak relationships based on those two things.
But do you
But-
think it's important that you love your mate?
Okay, you want to hear my take? Because
Let him answer, then you tell.
but he's
then you
never
go.
been married.
You gonna want to love. I'm speaking from relationship status because
Okay.
I've done both. So the love, if you really, really love somebody, like that gets like crazy.
Oh.
No, it get crazy. If you love somebody and they love you, it's super passionate. It's all over the place. Bobby and Whitney. You know what I'm saying? Like I loved somebody passionately, and it was trouble. Okay? I couldn't get enough of her, and she couldn't get enough of me. But a hole might get put in the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was that love, extreme jealousy and
But that's more. That's
insecurities.
like a toxic relationship.
No, but that's life. That's life. We could call it toxic, but the reality is more of us are dealing with insecurities and just trauma, mental trauma that we bring in from the past relationship,
Right,
yeah.
stuff that we worried
Yeah.
about. So when you love somebody and you have deep fear inside of you from what you dealt with previously, ain't no way around it. It's gonna be traumatic. It's gonna be toxic.
That's true.
Somebody love you and they want you to act right and you can't because you're afraid, then they're toxic. Then I dealt with that. So then you talk about on the other side, married for the business. I can tell you now, my son is a product of the business.
Okay.
So I dealt with a couple of ladies that had good money and they done well. And a lot of time I don't like it because they don't submit most of the time, and that's a whole nother topic to talk about.
Because they have their own.
I'm a man. You
it's
can't
so-
run me.
It's
But-
so funny. This question was posed years ago in my family, and my response, and it's still my response, I think love should be a part of it. but I think we need to look at it from, well, for me, I look at it from a financial standpoint. Because love is going to fade, love ain't paying bills, and if there isn't any money in the relationship to help us do what we need to do, the relationship is going to be strained.
Yeah,
so
ain't no glue there either.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't no glue.
If there ain't no love, there ain't no glue.
No, you didn't hear what I said.
No,
I did not say that there would not be love. I said there is love, but I don't think it should be only for love. That's what I said.
That's fair.
And if it's only for love, at some point when there is no money coming in because you only love, you're gonna see relationships starting to fail because there wasn't any money.
Right.
Okay,
so therefore, I put business. I have to keep my business because I want to keep some money, and that's just me.
So the question I would pose is, let's say it's heavy business. Like it looks good because it's business.
Okay.
Is there enough glue, heavy business to keep the relationship together?
Absolutely, because you're still working on the relationship.
No.
You never stop working on the relationship. The money is just an avenue to help you get to things.
But I see it a different way too, though, Tina, because I was in a marriage that I was in business with my ex.
Okay.
And the business became the prominent part of our relationship, and the love faded.
Okay.
So because you're so busy, tied up in all of the business and talking about business, you work together, you're talking about business constantly 100%, the love fades. And then, okay, where's the substance of the marriage? Is it just all business?
Well, I'm not saying you have to work together as in working in the same place. Working together as in two people having the same goal, working in the same direction, you will survive. You don't have to be in the same place to do that.
I mean business, period.
Right, but I'm addressing what you said. Y'all went to work together. I'm not saying that.
Part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to, and I asked previously about this, the finances have the glue to hold the relationship together. I don't think that the money will hold it together. I think the money, if it's really just money and money heavy, it cause more problems.
Yep.
Because people with money are entitled. Okay.
Some people with money are entitled. I think it
All
depends.
people with money are
I think it depends on the people. I think it takes two mature individuals to make it work, but at the same time, for me, and I'm only speaking of me and my relationships, money is important to me. I'm not saying money is the glue to the relationship. I'm not saying that, because I think you have to have love, and it has to be a person that you want to be with in order to move forward. But for me and my experiences, if there is nothing there to hold you up, I mean, lights get turned off, it frustrates a relationship, and then we have more problem, because love is not going to pay that light bill.
And you're 100% right. Most marriages are broken up because of finances. They fall apart because of those issues.
But if they love each other,
you can go together. And I was going right where you were saying.
Yeah.
Love will hold you through trouble. Somebody that love you is going to stay with you through thick and thin.
Absolutely.
Somebody that marries you for money and you ain't got the money no more, she out.
I didn't say marry for money. I'm saying money has to be a part of it.
But see,
for me, money
agree.
has to be a part of it. I'm not going to marry anybody solely for love. Never will I do it in a million years. That's just me. It's not hard.
It makes sense though, because I was saying before though, I did the love side, and then the business side was probably the worst decision I ever made, because it was heavy business. Well, it wasn't heavy business. We cared about each other, but my decision making paradigm at that moment was based on a financial future.
Right.
She made good money. I made good money. We're gonna be okay. But she was crazy as hell. Okay.
Yeah.
She was emotionally, psychologically all over the place. It wasn't enough love there for me to deal with that, because the money would be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I left because it wasn't enough love. The money was still cool, but the love wasn't strong enough to hold me there.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But I mean, that depends on the people. It really does depend on the two people.
And that's fair.
So, and that's just me and how I've always done my relationships. And for me, that's what worked for me. And it's not a secret.
And everybody does it different.
Right.
The better question is what actually works.
Right.
Well,
what
that's
works?
the question everybody
Can we all raise our hand if we failed? Did y'all fail before?
I failed.
You ain't never failed? You been winning all the time?
Well, I don't see it as a failure.
Oh,
I don't.
Win.
No, not necessarily win. I've experienced some things, not all good or bad, but I don't ever say it's a failure. I've taken it and I've learned from it. So I don't look at any of it as a failure. It's experience.
You've been listening to motivational speakers, huh?
No, that's how I live my life. It's an experience. So that's what it is. So no regrets, and you just move on.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair, like my son's father. Good guy, but not good for me.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that was not a good relationship for me, but the girl that he's with now, I told her, he wasn't good for me. He might be wonderful for you. I'm not going to talk bad about him because I had a bad experience. I learned from experience. I know what man I don't want, but I'm not going to shun him or say anything bad about him.
Okay.
So we just move forward. And I don't take whatever he did to me, I didn't take it into my next relationship because it's not fair to the next guy.
So you better than most. I can say that.
I'm not better than most. I just don't have time to deal with give somebody else's drama.
It's crazy. Just with you saying that, I just got this a story that just happened to me like 2 days ago. So me and my old lady, we've been together for a little over a year, right? Mm-hmm. My son is not even 2 yet. Okay. So I was out of that relationship. Me and my girlfriend, soon to be fiance, were in TJ Maxx going down the aisle, and guess who's there?
The baby mama?
Baby mama.
Okay, with the baby?
No, I had the baby.
Oh, okay.
So it was family time with me and his stepmama.
Oh, how did that go?
So it was the most awkward situation for me. I'm looking at my son, he in the stroller. I'm like, yeah, Bubba. I call my son Bubba. Bubba, like off the heat tonight. Anyway, so I'm pushing him like da-da-da, and we went to the end of the aisle. I look up, she's like, oh, hey. I'm like, oh, hey. Oh, let's go.
So you got uncomfortable?
Hell yeah.
Why?
Because I'm scared of her. She's crazy.
That was the first time they had seen her out with girlfriend.
That's the first time I didn't seen her other than a kid pickup drop off, and then me and my lady were together.
Yeah.
So that's a situation I had no control over. So anyway, that situation wanted to go, and thank God nothing happened. But the reality is, she could have started tripping. My old lady could have started tripping. The baby could have started crying. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do?
Anything could.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and the only reason that the story is relevant is because my lady was overly perturbed by the interaction. Really? Yeah, it was like a personal, emotional thing. Like,
but there is let me understand. But there's no emotional connection between you and the baby mama.
Baby mama?
Right.
No, I hope my son don't hear this, but if she died tomorrow, it'd be a celebration.
Oh, God.
Well, don't say that. Don't say that.
He the only person I care about.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a small break, and we'll be right back with Joey to talk more about this topic.
This is
T.
And this is MZ.